Hi, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I want to welcome you all back, and it is time to get started. You guys might have, if you guys are wondering, and if you're wondering about my weekend, yeah, the talk went well. By the way, the talk went really well. It's it was great. We went to, we did a little father-son retreat for the night. And it was great. You know, had a lot of that was quality, definitely quality time with my son. So it all went great. And it was extremely awkward, if you're wondering, of course. Just you can imagine. All right, we're going to get started with our morning analysis. It is so slow out there. Euro hit new highs, but that's not saying a whole lot. All right, I don't know where all. You know, it's funny. Like on the weekends, a lot of these blue lines that I draw, they don't transfer over very well. So I have to get rid of them when I redraw them. So let's, I don't know why it does that, but it's when I try to when I try to draw out in advance things, but I don't want to delete everything in the euro dollar. So we're gonna have to just draw it again. Okay, so here we are in the euro dollar, and you know, the euro. I guess the point here, or the thing that we have to note most about the euro dollar is it's grinding higher. Okay, it's grinding higher, but in very slow trade, and I think the maybe the important point of what we're dealing with the euro is maybe that upsloping trend line, which means that this low right here at 111.50 is going to be important. Now, I can't, and I'm saying this just to say it. I can't see there's like any reason why we're going to break that because Empire State manufacturing data is so strong. But it's I'm being sarcastic. But the fact is it's probably going to be a pretty slow moving day. However, if we do get below 111.50, I'm assuming stops are going to get taken. So let's go ahead and write that down. Whoops. Now resistance, as you guys know, we have a little bit lower here. Now, I guess the interesting thing about the euro dollar is we had weak retail sales, weak inflation data, producer prices, and the euro still came down. So that's something to note as well. That means that any rally up towards this 112, 112.20 are going to find sellers because there's people out there that were long on Friday, probably looking at the euro, saying, "What the hell is the euro doing? You know, how did the euro go down following that data?" Well, it did, and so the fact of the matter is that there's going to be sellers on the way back up there now. We are in a range, okay? Now, I mean, let's go out to the daily really quick. I mean, if we can make our way towards those highs, that's going to be the place to be short the euro, if we can get it. I just don't know if we're going to be able to get it. Anyway, so So 111.50 is pretty big. If we break 111.50, that's likely to trip some stops. Because it makes sense to me, and I'm not trading the euro at the moment, but it makes sense to me to be long the euro. And I'm sure it does to most people looking at this chart. Just be long the euro as long as it stays above this blue line. Gets below the blue line, though, you got a bit of a problem. All right, let's go over to the cable. Pound is heavy, and it is ridiculously heavy. I mean, we're sitting right on our lows right now, and we have 128.50 and then 128. And you know that 128 is huge support. Okay. Oops. Okay. So you got 128, 128.50. And, if 128 breaks, you're going to see probably a pretty massive slide in the cable. I would assume that sellers come in pretty aggressively if we break through that. All right. Resistance in the pound. We're at 129 right now. So any move, and if this channel is an hour, or I guess is a 4 hour. So any move now back to 130 here, let's remove that and let's draw it a little bit better than what we had it. Well, so now any move back to 130 is going to find sellers, because if you don't know where this fib goes to, fib could be right here, like we could have just posted a low. It could be a little bit lower, but any move up towards that trend line, this blue trend line here, doesn't matter how low we go, it's going to end up being probably a 618 retracement. So any move back up to 130, you're going to find sellers. Oh, wait. This is bearish. Whoops. This is still bearish. It's bearish while, again, on the euro dollar, as long as we're below that 112.50 level. Sorry. Monday morning blues for you. All right, let's go over the Swissy. To answer your question, no, I missed the Swissy again at the 618 retracement. Again. Ooh, we gotta leave that there. I missed the dip to the 618. We are being capped by the 38% retracement on the way back. So $97.60 to $97.10. So we're in a range. So as you can see here, the 618 is holding the dips. It's holding the dips. As you can see from here, the 38% retracement is holding any type of upside rally at this stage. Okay. All right. Let's go over to the yen. All right. So here's the yen. Let me get rid of that really quick. Let me get rid of this. I mean, this 100.70 really key support right now. Okay, and you can see how we're just probing through that 101. But this 100.70, this has got to have, actually it's probably 6.5, but let's just double check. 6.7. There's got to be a lot of stops sitting beneath here, which you have to watch very carefully, because if those stops get triggered, that's just going to usher in all sorts of dollar. And what's surprising, I think what's most surprising about the dollar yen, and like I said it a little bit earlier, is it's going down even as stock market futures are stronger, which is very surprising to me. It's surprising to me that it's as weak as it is. You would think with futures higher and stronger. I mean, the DAX made a little push higher today. S&P futures are, firmer. Dow futures are firmer. You would think the dollar yen would be, trading at 101.50, maybe 102 this morning, but it's not. Oops. It's actually, near the lows. So from a risk reward standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to buy the dollar yen right now. However, it seems very dangerous to me, because if futures tick down a little bit, next thing you know, we'll be in breakdown territory. I guess if we break above 101.50, that'll take some of the downside pressure off, but I don't know. I'm not too excited about that at all. This is bearish. Let's go over the Canadian. So the dollar Canadian, we did on Friday. We came down to channel support. We bounced a little bit. The crude oil was strong, pushed us right back down towards support. That's very tempting to go long the dollar Canadian here, keeping stops below 129. You know what? I think I'm going to buy just a little bit of dollar Canadian here. And because if it does break, you have to get out. I mean, because here, look. I just bought some at 34. So if you look at this trend line, right through here, this is your risk. This is and this, just so you can see it here, channel low, right? Channel low, channel low. You're basically sitting on it. So your risk is maybe 40 pips to get a move back up towards 130, which is 65 pips. So you're risking 40 pips to make 65 pips. It makes sense right now. Okay, this major support's at 129, and if we break 129, I think I mean, that's just a straight up uh, every every Canadian pair is going to be heading down. You know, pound. Wow, cable. Boom. It is breaking. Man, I got to look at some of these other pound pairs. We got to stop for a second. Here's the pound Aussie. That thing looks like a piece of garbage, doesn't it? I don't have any pound exposure right now. Zero. Zilch. Zippo. Pound Canadian. Whew. Oh, dangerous. Right there. Pound Swiss. Getting demolished. Pound Yen. Getting destroyed. Pound New Zealand. Hmm. Man, this pound. Whew. You would think you. Here, let's go to the euro pound, and the euro pound's just ripping higher. Look at that thing. Man, those are some good longs that we had last week, 2 weeks ago down here. This pair was really good to me. I just, we're heading right into the 618 retracement around the 87 pence level. Kind of needed to test it. All right. Going back into what was I what were we going over? Canadian. Let's do the Kiwi really quick. So here's the Kiwi. So the Kiwi had a false breakout above the highs last week. We fell to the 618. We found some support overnight. As we said on Friday, I think you guys remember I said if any move up to 72.50 on Friday, we went up to 72.50 and then reversed. Perfectly too, by the way. Because I shorted the Kiwi at 72.40, 72.43 on Friday. Decent money in the Kiwi. Hopefully you guys did too. Huh. I don't know. I don't know where resistance is going to be. I mean, capped at the 50% retracement. This 786 takes us up to 72.30, which may end up being it, because if this is this down channel looks like this. I just had it drawn out, but we have another down channel looks like this, let's say. And we should be capped somewhere up here. We shouldn't be able to get much whoops. We shouldn't be able to get much beyond. Yeah, I mean, we should be capped up here. So I'll write down 72.35 just in case we make our way up there. And then resistance is 71.65 overnight lows. And we're in a range. Okay, and when we come back, we'll do all the rest. The Aussie and dollar index, peso, Swedish krona, all that stuff. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere, folks. Keep an eye on that cable. All righty, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You were listening to the Morning Edge webinar. I hope everybody's having a great trading session. And let's go over to the Aussie. So the Aussie dollar, and I'm sitting in an Aussie short from last week, and don't mind it at all, actually. But I'm also short from a cost average of 77.20 as well. The Aussie is struggling right as where it should. This is like the breakout point from earlier in the month in July. We've put up some pretty negative and big reversal candles last week. We're seeing a bounce right now, but this bounce here that we're seeing, I look at it as more as an opportunity. Matter of fact, I might actually sell a little bit more very shortly. I just look at it as a selling opportunity for those of you that aren't on the short side in the Aussie. Okay, because all we're doing is rallying into probably what'll be end up being some pretty good resistance here. So if we can get a rally back to 76.80, 76.90. Probably not a bad place to be on the short side of the Aussie. Now I'm going to put it in range. Sorry, I have to think on longer term basis. Longer term basis, but longer term basis we're really range bound. Okay. But like I said, the reversal candles that we saw late last week, I think is a good opportunity to be on the like I said, to be on the short side of the Aussie up here, right? So any type of rally that you can see up here should be sold into. Support 76.35. Let me see if that was any particular reason why we stopped there. It's 38% retracements ahead of that. I guess it would be because of the spike high here, possibly. So 76.35 support. It's not great support, it just happens to be support. Okay, let's take a look at the dollar index. So the dollar index, let's grab this trend line here. We tried to break down, here, I'm going to get rid of that for a second. We tried to break down obviously on Friday, ripped right back up, which to me, here, let's get rid of this really quick. To me, signals how important that support is there. Because anybody who's bullish the dollar right now does not want to see that broken. Because if it is, then we got a problem. So that's 95 and a quarter. Okay. Resistance. I mean, I'm going to have to mark this. It's not great resistance, so oops. It's not great resistance, but it is resistance, which is just basically 96. Okay. And we are range bound. Let's take a look at the peso. So I heard something on CNBC this morning. It just happened to catch my ear. Usually I don't even pay attention, but Joe Kernan, he said the peso is strengthening because Hillary Clinton is leading the polls. And so that's bullish for the peso. I don't subscribe to that idea. However, you got to keep an eye on it too, because maybe the polls will have more influence on the peso than I think. I mean, you never know. I still think it's more of a function of risk appetite and risk aversion. Risk appetite is stronger today. So because risk appetite is stronger today, the pesos come back down. This is going to be support, which is 812. Okay, because that held through here on Friday. We spiked below, and it held us. We spiked right back up again. So 812 is support, or 1812. We're hitting new lows, actually. Resistance, be right back here. Is 1828. We're in a range, but we are threatening to turn bearish. I mean, if we can break through here, we're going to go. It's going to turn bearish all the way back down to 17. Like I said, I'm not subscribing into the idea that it's because of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump is what's driving the peso, but that doesn't mean that the market won't subscribe to that idea. Hillary Clinton continues to pull away in the polls, maybe it is, maybe it will continue to strengthen the peso. Something to just be aware of. I mean, if that's what people are talking about, that's what they're talking about. It doesn't matter what I think. What I think is right or wrong. You know what I mean? Okay, let's take a look at the Norwegian krona. So it says, how can you question Joe? I can't believe this. It's like, okay. Anyway, so here's the Norwegian krona. Now, this is interesting. All right, this is something that I think we need to pay very, very close attention to. The Norwegian krona, I mean, I'm drawn to the very wicks of these, the candle right here. We closed above We closed above the wick, okay, or I closed above the wick, closed above the trend line. The wick came below. We tried to rally back today, and then we came down probably because crude oil was strong. But you got to keep an eye on this. You got to keep an eye on this Norwegian krona. If we break below 815, that is bearish. There's no if and or buts about it. Okay, you know, and whether you decide to trade the U.S. dollar Norwegian krona on the short side, or if you can trade like the Euro Norwegian krona. I mean, because look at this one. I mean, this is big, big, big head and shoulder pattern, right? Head, shoulder, shoulder. I don't know if I have the Swedish krona, Norwegian krona. I know some of you guys can trade that. Whoops. I don't think I have it. SEK. Okay, I'll have to look at it on TradingView. Yeah, I don't have it here. There's the Norwegian krona. Let's go back to the. Let me take a look at the Swedish krona, Norwegian krona. Ah, damn it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. If you're looking at the Swedish krona and Norwegian krona, I mean, this thing looks like, I mean, look, this is just illustrating how strong the Norwegian krona is. So, like I said, I don't know if the U.S. dollar Norwegian krona is going to break down, but you got to keep an eye on it because, and like I said, even if you decide not to trade the U.S. dollar Norwegian krona, you can look at other NOK pairs, I'm going to write down the 828. That's a big resistance now. 828. That's big resistance. And what did I say was support? 812? 815, sorry. 815. And because if we break that 815 in the US dollar Norwegian krona, you just know it is Norwegian krona strength across the board. I think that's the way you got to play it. Okay, so we are in a range, but we're threatening to turn bearish here. Okay. US dollar Swedish krona. Man, this Canadian is heavy. Jeez. Dollar Canadian just cannot get a lift. US dollar Swedish krona. Let me do something. 50% retracement comes down here because if for some reason the Norwegian krona breaks down, the Swedish krona is going to get dragged down too. You know what I mean? So 831.70 is a 50% retracement and trendline support. Okay. Resistance. If we're going to take the downside pressure off the Swedish krona, we have to break back above, let's call it 848. All right. And that is in a range. Okay, so your bias chart's done, guys. It is so slow out there. Let's hold on really quick. Pounds. Oh, the peso's on its lows. The Canadian is, we hit new lows or down here near support. Like I said, I bought some. I actually added a little bit too. My cost average is 129.32 right now. I'm only down 12 pips. I'm just sitting in it. But if the US dollar Canadian breaks through 129, that is going to be extremely bearish for the Canadian. I'll tell you that much. Um, it's real quiet out there, guys. Gold. Hold on really quick. Let me pull up gold. Gold's weakening a little bit. I'm just looking at it intraday. This is an hourly, and it's not a huge deal. It's just something that I was just kind of watching. Equity markets are so strong still. Like a Dow futures are up 45 points. It's keeping risk appetite strong. Pesos new lows. Joe said the pound Canadian broke below daily support. Yeah, I mean, the pound looks bearish against everything. Let me look at that thing. So you have the 127% extension coming up. RSI is divergent really bad. And that comes in at 166. Not like I'd want to buy it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the pound Canadian bounced at 166. Just enough to hit new trend lows. Relative strength is divergent. It just bounces from here. Gets everybody short and then just bounces. Possible, especially with the cable. Let me take a look at the pound New Zealand. Okay, pound Aussie. All right.